All right, guys, let's get to this. Gosh, they've been so fun with us all weekend, and what a way to end the weekend with this lovely group here. Please welcome, she played Callie Harper Ewing, Cathy Podewell. And she was JR's secretary, Sly Lovegreen. My God, what a performance she gave last night. That's right here, Cathy. Deborah Rennard is with us. She was Bobby's secretary, Phyllis Warner, Deborah Tranelli. Yeah, right there. Yeah, thanks. And she was Ewing oil receptionist, Kendall Chapman, and my Uber buddy on the way here from the airport, Miss Danone Simpson. And you're next. Danone, come on. Yes, please, join us. He was con man Casey Donald. Andrew Stevens is here. And a favorite of mine, he was Sheriff Fenton Washburn, Barry Corbin. Barry, come on up here. And she was Christopher Ewing's biological aunt, Lisa Alden, Amy Stoch, back in Southfork territory here. And my gosh, what a lovely person I had the pleasure of meeting last month. Janine Turner, she played Lucy's friend Susan. All right, guys, I've been looking forward to this. Thank you. Now, the reason I grouped you all together is because throughout the show, in one way or another, you all had kind of situations with JR where you became his pawns. He used you in a kind of a master chess game in one way or another. Especially you. So let's begin. Well, yeah, he really did a number on you. So Cathy, let's have a look at a classic scene with Callie near the climax of her storyline, I'll say. Yeah. Here we go. You're the pawns.
JR, there's something we have to discuss.
Oh, you know, that reminds me. I got some papers I want you to sign. Yeah.
What are they?
Oh, nothing special, just some tax documents, you know. There you go, darling, right here. Thank you, Callie.
Can we talk now?
Yes, we can talk, but it's not going to change the facts of life.
What do you mean by that?
I think it's time you learned hard truth. With Mama and John Ross safely out of the way, I want you out of the house. Here's a check for $200,000. You can keep the clothes and the jewelry I gave you. And you don't have to be in a rush. I'm going to be gone for, about a week. But when I get back, I want you packed and gone. I don't want to see your face again. Not here at Southfork or in Dallas.
Callie, are you here? Callie, are you all right? JR left you like a bat out of hell.
I'm gonna have JR's baby, James. Only he's never, ever gonna hold it, or touch it, or see it. God is my witness.
So good. So good.
So weird. I haven't seen that since it aired. It's so weird. I think I have that shirt, though.
Tell us, what was the dynamic between you and Larry Hagman between scenes? What was your relationship like? And I mean, we've heard stories.
Well, yeah, you know what a goofball he was. So starting at the audition, the callback, they had me read with Larry. And I've said this before, it was like I was a huge I Dream of Jeannie fan. So I was freaking out and fangirling over that fact. And yeah, of course, who didn't know who JR was? But we read the seduction scene in the woods in Haleyville. And so it was very sultry. And so Callie would have been very nervous, but Cathy was even more nervous. And literally my chest turned bright red, and I swear to you, that is the reason Larry picked me. He just, the chemistry was great.
Yeah, you could tell.
And then, I got the job, and he was just the nicest. They'd all been together for 10 years. They were a family. He and Patrick would have lunch together in their trailer when we were here filming in Dallas, and they invited me every day. So I wasn't just, and I was only supposed to be on 7 episodes, so they could have just been like, oh, that's the guest star. But instead, they included me. They made me feel part of the family, and that's how it was the whole time. And Larry sent me flowers for 20 years after the show ended on my birthday.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And then they
The best.
They brought
The
you
best.
back for the reboot for
Yeah.
Dallas, Larry's funeral episode.
I know, I was so touched.
Which was great to have you there.
Yeah.
So I got to, as I mentioned, I shared an Uber with Danone with you, and you filled me in that the 3 of you were on the show and Deborah, you joined us as well. You joined us as well. We picked you up. Yes, we did along the way. By the way, I'm blown away by the musical performance last night. You are incredible. Thank you. It's an amazing job. You were on the show for 13 of those years or something? I mean, a long, long run, right? 10 of those years. Amazing. I can't imagine it would be easy to keep a job at Ewing Oil.
Depends on what you have to do to keep it. Well, remember, I almost lost it when Cliff Barnes blackmailed me.
Well, let's actually watch. Is that the next one? Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna show?
Well, let's show the next one. It's coming up if it's not this one.
I didn't mean to hurt the company, JR.
No, of course you didn't. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I found out it was you, not somebody else. Because I can trust you, Sly. And you've given me something I've always wanted. A way of communicating with Cliff Barnes.
What do you mean?
He doesn't have to know I found out about you. And you can be very useful in passing on information. Information I control.
You're gonna set him up?
He set himself up. What I'm gonna do is bring him down. And bring him down very, very hard.
It was so good, wasn't he? Oh my God, amazing.
You know, JR never missed an opportunity to hit on an attractive woman, yet there was a respect, I believe, that kept you employed there at Ewing Oil. Tell us about that and how that played into your performances with Larry.
Oh my God, that's so interesting. I never thought of that. But I think you're right. Like, he never hit on her. All right, well, you talked about your story with getting hired. I'll tell you about my story. So my story is that I got hired, and I show up for my first day at work, to be interviewed by JR for the job. And just like you, I'm like, oh my God, Major Nelson is gonna come and interview me.
Janine.
I grew up watching him, I love him. And I'm sitting there like this, nervous and everything. And so Larry walks in, and he sits down at his desk, and he looks at me. And he turns around and he looks at Leonard Katzman, created the show, wrote most of the episodes, directed most of the episodes. And he looks back at me. And he looks back at Leonard. He looks at me and says, This is who you cast? He's like, she's so innocent and young. She looks like a milkmaid. I kid you not, for 2 years he called me the milkmaid. He couldn't believe that Leonard had cast, because I was very young and innocent, I guess, in those days, me to be his secretary. And I guess Leonard hadn't clued him in on what Leonard was thinking when he cast me. Because apparently 2 years later, I'm having lunch with Leonard, and he says, you weren't at all what we were looking for.
Oh.
And I was like, really? He said, yeah. But when you walked in the door, we thought, wow, this is interesting. to have the biggest villain in television have this beautiful young woman who's so innocent to be his secretary. There's somewhere to go with this. And I guess he hadn't, informed Larry, because Larry was shocked when he saw me. But, as it turns out, yes.
Yeah.
Cliff Barnes blackmails me. Andrew Stevens tries to use me to get at him. Sasha Mitchell tries to use me. So it was like, yeah, that's what he had in mind. But isn't that...
What a compliment. It's a huge compliment to your work.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when Sly resigned, JR tried luring Phyllis into his web. So let's look at what happened at that point.
I'm sorry I have to leave Ewing Oil.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry too. I'm gonna miss you. Take a long honeymoon, charge it to me.
Thanks, JR. I'm gonna miss you too. I mean, if there was any other way.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're gonna have to show Phyllis how things work around here. Better call her in.
Okay.
Might as well start now, I suppose. Huh.
Phyllis?
Oh, Phyllis? It looks like it's just you and me now. There's a whole bunch of things you're gonna have to learn.
I don't think so.
What?
I work for Bobby, JR, and only Bobby.
Well, Bobby doesn't work for this company.
Well, then I guess neither do I.
What?
JR, I've been waiting to tell you this for a long time. Hell would have to freeze over before I'd ever work for you.
Damn. Yeah. And Phyllis wasn't shy after that, amazingly.
No, she was out of a job, but
Yeah,
she got to say what she wanted to
but
say for
knowing
over
JR
10 years.
Fabulous
To
scene.
be able to say that to JR and live.
Oh.
And still be on the show. Yeah, no, that was actually my last episode, so it was a great exit line. It was the next to last episode, I think.
What a moment the
series.
writers gave to you, though, really. So over the years, what headaches, is a nice way to say it, did JR inflict on the three of you, on his secretarial survivors?
Okay, the one that I remember is, this was a wacky episode, and you all, I'm sure, know much more than me which episode, which season, whatever, because you're way more clued in, I forget. But there was a weird episode where he was trying to get something from a farmer, and he dressed me up in little cut-off jeans, right? and pranced me out there to try to seduce this old man, to get him to sign this lease or something. It was ridiculous. But Sly, being that loyal character, she did it. She went out there, and then as soon as he signed, he went inside. She's like, "Okay, let's get out of here."
What a trooper. Any memories, Deborah?
He kind of, because I was so loyal to Bobby, and I was so clued in and in the office, because we were all in the same office together, I think he just sort of, he tolerated me, because he didn't want to, have any bad blood with me in case he needed to get information. But I definitely was, oftentimes sitting in the office listening in and hearing what was going on there. So, I think I was the good girl. I was the Della Street to Perry Mason. That was my relationship with Bobby. But I was definitely listening in and in my own way spying in. But he didn't really, I loved working with Larry. My first scene was with Larry.
Was it?
My first scene on the show, yeah. And and he was lovely and was always lovely to me, and I loved working with him as a director too.
Oh yeah,
he was an amazing director.
I think Patrick and Linda, I think. Also.
Yeah.
Any memories of the cliffhanger that found Bobby shot? That was a big deal for you guys. You were all in tears.
Yeah. Well, that was the scene where you were leaning over me at the desk, and all I did was I just was sobbing, consoling you, truly sobbing. Yeah. Some of it was Phyllis, and some of it was Deborah going, "Am I out of a job now?" Am I gone? But I wasn't. Thank you, Victoria Principal, who wanted me to work in the offices with her when she came in.
That's
But
right.
yeah, but Deb just leaned over and it was very emotional. Yeah.
I could tell. It was beautifully done. Oh, so Kendall was rarely seen out of the Ewing offices, but every once in a while we got to see her out and about, like when she was being used as a pawn by JR's son, James. So let's have a look at that clip.
I've never eaten here before.
You mean your bosses don't take you to a lunch once in a while?
Phyllis and Sly, maybe. I think that Cliff is too cheap to take Jackie.
And not you? Something must be wrong with them.
No, not really. They're real nice.
Oh, they've got good taste. Tell me the truth. They hired you all straight out of a Miss Texas beauty contest, right?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
Do you enjoy working with them?
Oh, yeah, it's a good job. And things are getting really busy again.
Oh, is it considered a large company?
For an independent, it's one of the biggest.
And JR runs the company, right?
No, actually, Bobby's the president right now.
Oh? Is there a change coming?
Well, I don't think that JR likes having to answer to his brother.
So they don't get along too well then, huh?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It's just that JR likes doing things his own way. They lost Ewing Oil once because of that. You know, I don't think I should be telling you all of this.
So charming, so much charm. As the series continued into season 10 and beyond, with a lot of the principal cast moving on, do you feel the writers gave y'all more to do? Danone?
Well, yes, that scene was a little scary. I've told a lot of you already, you know, there was a morning after scene that I woke up in bed with James.
Oh?
And, I mean, in my real life, I was a Girl Scout leader. And my girls watched the show. So I went into Lenny and I said, Lenny, where are you going with this? And he said, oh, why? And I said, well, you know, my Girl Scouts watch the show and I don't know what to say to them. And so they immediately flipped, and Patrick was amazing. He was the director that day. And so I was now not in the bed. I was on the phone, and I had on a long pink, beautiful nightgown that was yours when you married JR. Do you remember that? Well, anyway, that was the last minute all they could find.
I guess the budget was down by season 15, I guess, yeah.
I went straight to the floor gown, you know, and yeah, they were very protective of me. And, you know, Lenny said, oh, Janine, you're just not a typical actress. And I said, well, you know, I'd have a lot to lose here, so I have to mind my P's and Q's. And thank God, because you know who he ended up with, right? Michelle, who ended up taking all of Ewing Oil. But, wow, and their scenes were just amazing. I was like, I'm so glad that's not me. And she was perfect for the role, if you remember her. I wish she was here with us today. Yeah, she was great.
And Luella, did you get to work with Luella at all? The actress who played Luella, the secretary?
Luella was still there when I first came
She was?
on. Yes, she was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very small little. The first office was very cozy. It was Larry walked in the door. I said, you know, Connie's not here today. I'm just temping for her. And he goes, well, welcome to Ewing Oil, Phyllis. And that was about my scene. But Luella was on the desk to my right. Yeah.
Were you there for the Who Shot JR phenomenon?
Right after.
Right after, all of you.
Right, I filmed December of 1980, so it was just the beginning
Got
of
it,
the
okay.
show. Yeah.
Well, you were all there when Patrick decided for a year to move on, and they killed off Bobby, as we know. How did that affect your roles on the show with that dream season and him being gone from the series?
I think it affected yours. Yeah, I really, I mean, I was joking about it, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen, you know. And then the decision was made that Pam was going to come in and work at the company, work at Ewing, and they were kind of going back and forth whether they were going to hire someone new or whether it was going to be me. And we had this wonderful, she said, no, I want the continuity of that. I'm a female executive, I want a female assistant. And she has that relationship, and we had a wonderful scene where she said, you know, you were so special to Bobby, and I really want to continue. And I had some wonderful scenes with her. I have nothing, you know, but praise for how she stood up for me. And
bravo.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Thank you. That's the principal secret, right
principal
there.
Secret. Just a side note, you know, all of her beauty things, you know, they were like, I was the one that said, to order your choice of Victoria's color kits, call 1-800-666-7777. That's 1-800.
I love that.
Of course I do. That's my voiceover voice.
Clearly you all
I did all the infomercial. I did all the phone numbers.
Well, clearly you all use the youth cream because you all look fabulous, and so Principal Secret is still available, I believe. So So when Bobby did die, I do remember there was a scene when all of you were just in tears with the Kleenex boxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to that, Deborah.
Oh, God. I have such a bad memory. I do remember that
Yeah.
we were emotional, whatever, but I don't really remember.
Anyone
more
remember about the
specifics.
morning
Anybody
Bobby
remember
Ewing?
more? Do you?
I was thinking the whole time, thank God I'm the receptionist. So, I was in the outer part, so I could keep my job, But we didn't worry about you.
But I think the
I think
other,
that's why we were crying. We were in 3Ds, like, no, you can't.
and it's that extra layer of, I have such genuine affection for Patrick.
Yeah.
And working with him all those years, so I was going to miss him. That's like someone
Oh,
leaving
yeah,
your
we all
life
did.
and not knowing when you're going to see them again.
Yeah.
It's true. We really did. Like, I had such affection for Larry, and he was like
Yes.
almost a mentor to me. He was so kind. I was so young on the show, and he just kind of took me under his wing. And if anything, I was probably thinking they were so funny together, Larry and Patrick.
Oh, my
They were
gosh.
always doing
Oh,
these
my
practical
gosh.
jokes. Like, we never had one serious rehearsal the entire time.
Yeah.
They would do something funny, and everyone would laugh, and then Leonard would say, all right, let's just shoot this thing. If anything, I was probably thinking, damn, we're going to lose out on some of those practical jokes. We lose Patrick. I know.
Were there any storylines with the three of you that were discussed or that you pitched that were thought about and just didn't happen for one reason or another that you can recall?
Nobody ever told us anything.
Oh,
we
yeah.
would find out what was going on in the
Yeah.
script when we got
Exactly.
the script.
Right.
Right?
I think the hope
They were
was that
very-
there might be, but
Very tight-lipped. It was like, oh, that's what's happening this week.
Same with you? Cathy, same with you? Yeah. Andrew, tell us about Casey Janine.
Well, I got a call one day from my agent saying they want to meet you for a potential new role in Dallas. Supposedly they were bringing in new blood with me and Jack Scalia, and some old blood with George Kennedy, whom I'd worked with, a really fine actor. And I had a couple of meetings, and they offered me the role. At that time, Charlene had left the show, and so I kind of had a storyline that went in one direction. And in my second year, Charlene came back on the show, so they integrated us.
They sure did. So we're going to look at a scene between Casey, April, and Lucy Ewing. Cooper.
Hey, there's a terrific little restaurant right around the corner. Why don't you go on over there and I'll meet you just as soon as I'm through.
I don't mind waiting.
Casey! Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I've got your check for $1 million.
This is your messenger from Oklahoma.
Who's she?
I'm his partner.
So am I.
What?
Listen, I can explain all this.
You'd better.
Why didn't you tell me your partner looked like this?
How come she knew about me and I didn't know about her?
Well, it's not just about the money. Lucy and I are engaged to be married.
We're what?
Well, she's just lending me the money until I can get mine in from Oklahoma.
Good to the last drop, aren't you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the last drop of oil that came out of that fabulous gusher of yours. It went dry.
All you really wanted was Southfork, not me. You're nothing but a con man. You always were, you always will be.
That's not true. I did hit, and I do know the oil business. By the time I found out the well had dried up, we were already in business. What was I supposed to do, just pull out right in the middle of things?
So, Andrew, what is the key? We saw with Larry Hagman, we saw with Ken Kirschenwald, the key to playing a snake like that who's still so damn likable.
I remember the first scene I did with Larry where they were introducing the Casey Danone character, who was the son of an Oklahoma oil man that had done business with JR, and he moved to Dallas to try to connect with JR. And JR, I don't think there are a lot of people that they take a moment and they think, you know, I'm not sure how I can use you, but I know I can eventually, I'll figure it out. And that's kind of the cat and mouse that we had with each other. And we were by a swimming pool at a hotel. And of course I had my shirt off. I didn't own a shirt in the 80s. and he walks up and I take my sunglasses off, I sit up, and a cocktail waitress comes by. And she is flirting with me and she's just paying attention to me. And JR said, honey, I'd like a scotch and water or whatever. But he played it so well. And I, like everyone else, had the privilege of being directed by him. He knew that I played basketball, and so he said, well, let's do some basketball. So we created a whole basketball sequence, and I get to work with Patrick as a director and Steve as a director, and it was just great because, I've been a director as well as a producer, and it was great to be able to work with actors who were actually being able to direct something that they knew so well.
Well, back in the 80s, at that time, Jackie Collins, all of her books were being made into miniseries. And the most successful one of those was Hollywood Wives. And you played 2 roles in that, and you got to work with Mary Crosby, Kristen Shepard, who of course shot JR, as well as Candice Bergen and Angie Dickinson, Stephanie Powers, Suzanne Summers. Any memories you can share of Mary Crosby, if not one of the other ladies?
Well, Mary and I did an independent film together with Amanda Wiss, who was in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and it was called Deadly Rivals or something like that. And we were on location in Florida, and I love Mary Crosby. We became really, really fabulous friends, and she's just a special person. I asked about her when I showed up at this event. I don't know if anyone's seen her, but she is a lovely person. And then, having had that foundational relationship in Hollywood Wives, there were so many beautiful, significant movie star actresses in this show. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, Rod Steiger, I mean, just tremendous actors. And I was able to play twins. I played the good twin and the evil twin. And of course, there was a poster with my shirt off. And in the book, there was an aspiring actor who was trying to get noticed in Hollywood, so he spent all his money to buy a billboard with his shirt off with a logo on it that said, "Who is Buddy Hudson?" And actually, that's how I got the job. I had just shot a photo shoot, and I took a blow-up of me kind of laying semi-horizontally, and I blew it up, and I put, "Who is Buddy Hudson?" And I sent it to Jackie Collins because she didn't want me for the show. Oh, Aaron Spelling wanted me. Jackie wasn't sure that I was right, and when I sent that poster, she said, "Have him in," and she said, "You're Buddy Hudson." So.
Well, I worked for Aaron Spelling, and he knew a star when he saw one, so he made the right decision there, Jackie. Mr. Corbin, sir, tell us what you enjoyed most about playing Sheriff Washburn.
Well, I got to arrest just about everybody in the Ewing family. Whenever you saw me coming, you know I was going to get him out of it, but I had to arrest him first. I figure I was in the pocket of Jock Ewing first, and then after he passed away, then JR shoved me in his watch pocket. So I was sly about it, but I was on the tape. That's what I enjoyed most about it.
You were so fun in that role, and one of the saddest storylines actually on Dallas was the death of Mickey Trotter, Ray's nephew. And a lot of situations came out of that. So let's look at a scene in Sheriff Washburn's office with Ray Krebs.
He deliberately rammed the car that Sue Ellen and your cousin were riding in.
Deliberately? That's attempted murder.
Yeah. He made a mistake. He thought somebody else was in the car. When he found out what he'd done to Mickey, he couldn't live with himself.
A mistake? Who the hell did he think was driving the car?
Well, JR's car. He was trying to kill JR. Apparently JR double-crossed him in some business deal.
Let me see that. Revenge against JR.
This is the guy here.
Walt Driscoll. driving the car. But the guy that destroyed Mickey's life, JR.
Larry, I had heard that Mr. Hagman was a big fan of yours. What did you two gentlemen have in common, you and Larry?
Well, we were both from Texas, and we both like a little libation once in a while. I don't remember that go-to-hell mustache I had on. That is true. Keep one of them trimmed just right, you know. I guess I did do that, but I can't remember it. I can't remember having hair.
Well, when TNT brought back Dallas, they gave us a real treat, and it was actually really a nice way to acknowledge the relationship that you had with Larry. You were cast in a different role as the attorney who read JR's last will and testament. We showed that clip the other day, but tell us about what that meant to you, getting to come back at that very critical, storyline moment.
Well, I was surprised. I think that lawyer was played by a man who was much older in the original series, and I think maybe the actor had departed, and they needed somebody else, so they said, well, let's revive old Fenton Washburn and give him a new name. And I went in and told Patrick, well, I really hated it. Larry passed away. He said, yeah. Son of a bitch had the nerve to die before the season was over.
Okay, Amy. Yeah. I don't know. Yes. Okay. So remind everyone, please, Amy, about the trouble that Lisa Alden caused during her time in Dallas.
Okay. I don't think this is on.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay. So the trouble Lisa Alden caused. That's a great question. And I'd like to thank everyone here for answering that for us. Honestly, Lisa is a true pawn.
Oh, yeah.
JR's, yeah, true pawn, because having the connection, the biological connection with Christopher, and never having met him, and then meeting that cute, adorable little boy who was a very good actor, by the way.
Joshua Harris.
Yes.
And he's still cute and adorable,
He
by the way.
is. And meeting him and getting to know him. And then there was this whole issue of being connected to Bobby somehow, and maybe there was this idea that I was going to be a possible new love interest for Bobby, but where that was squashed?
I don't.
Was pretty much, because, okay, everybody here who has talked to me, I talk a lot, so here it goes. All right, so my audition process was 10 people were called in for the role for one reading, and then it was going to be cast because they were already in Dallas shooting the season, right? So I went in for this audition, sat next to a friend of mine who was auditioning for the same part. She was leaving the next day for Hawaii to get married, and I was leaving the next day for Greece for a Greek Isle cruise that my boyfriend had won on Press Your Luck. Okay.
Oh.
So we were both leaving the country. And then segue to, I'm in the middle of the Aegean Sea. I get a note from the captain's office that said, call your agent. And I went, oh my God, I think I just got Dallas. And so we ran to the island trying to find a phone. Called my mother because it was too early in California. Called my mom, and the first words out of her mouth were, did you know you got Dallas? And I went, hi, I'm okay. Nice to hear the mom. Anyway, so that's pretty much how I got the role, and I think it was because they were looking for possible new love interest for Bobby. Well, I hadn't met anybody. The audition was one and out, and you were cast and sent down to Dallas. So I flew home from
Greece to Rome to New York to LA, repacked, flew to Dallas, and started shooting. The ice rink scene was our first shot. And I met Patrick in the wardrobe fitting as the first time I'd met him. And he shakes my hand and he says, "Oh, welcome, welcome, boy. She looks just like my kid sister." And I'm like, okay, not gonna be on this show very long. So I think, and I was telling you guys, that's kind of what a soap does, is it depends on how the storyline goes, depends on how the characters are, the fan reaction, and where they want to take the story. So I think pretty much everybody understood that it really wasn't going to work out romantically between me and Bobby, but I still had that connection with Christopher. So in comes JR, and we find out in a very interesting reveal moment that he's the one behind bringing me to Dallas and starting this whole thing with Christopher, just to get back at Patrick.
It's like we rehearsed this. Let's watch.
Nice cue.
Yeah, that's about the size of
Yes, it gets better.
What are you talking about?
I know what really happened. And the judge isn't going to like it one bit when he hears that even though you legally adopted Christopher, it was after you bought him from my brother.
Well, for a minute there, I thought you were going to invite him in.
How did you get in here?
Well, I rented this apartment for you, remember? I always make an extra key.
That's how we all found out that I was a pawn of JR's. Yeah, that was pretty cool reveal scene, though, I thought.
Do you have a memory of Larry that you can share with us?
Yeah, nothing specific, just again, a general sense of acceptance. He was on, you all have been on the show for so long, and here comes this little, blonde actress going, "Hi, I'm new." And just being accepted, and as a professional, along with them, and being treated with the same respect, and being able to work off of such an amazing actor and a nice person, and also being directed by him, and Linda and Patrick and all of them, and just feeling like I was one of the family, and that I didn't have to prove myself or whatever. It was okay to be who I was and act off of a really, truly great person. So.
Yeah, and I see a lot of you nodding.
Yeah.
Speaking for the whole cast, cast. Janine, I'm going to have you act out your scene, if you wouldn't mind.
That means I have to remember it.
Well,
okay. The line that my mother says that I said?
Any scene you want. I'm unprepared with the scene, but I'm so happy to have you, and I want to ask...
because you don't have a clip.
I don't have a clip. That's what I'm saying. Next year we'll have an amazing reel of all of your best scenes.
All right.
This was a big deal for you. When I first discovered you, it was as Laura Templeton on General Hospital. You were the big cast after Ginny Francis walked off the show. You were so magical. Was that before or after you landed Dallas?
That was after Dallas. The reason I'm so thrilled to be here and be a part of this, because I feel I'm a little, I'm almost intimidated to be here, because I was discovered on Dallas. Leonard Katzman, we all have our casting story, but it was the first thing I ever did was Dallas. And I showed up for the audition in Dallas, and their casting, the casting offices were the production offices were in a hotel somewhere, I don't remember where we were. And I walked, it was to play Lucy, Ewing's friend, Susan, and I walked into the sundry shop to get, some gum or something, I don't know. And there was this man across the store, and he kind of looked at me, and I looked at him, he did a little wink. I'm sort of like, hi. I didn't know who he was. And I go into the production office, and there he was. And it was Leonard Katzman.
Wow.
And I walk in, and he looks at me, and this has never happened since. After this, I heard 10,000 no's. But he looked at me, I sat down, and I said, he goes, yeah, I just saw you downstairs. He looked at me, and he said, you don't have to read, you already have the job.
Oh.
So, and that was 17 17, and Dallas was everything. Dallas was huge. We're talking 1980.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic to book the role, and I was in 3 episodes, 2 at Southfork, 1 at MGM. I was 17 years old. But the reason I moved to LA was because Leonard Katzman told me I should.
Wow.
And when I went out to Southfork on Friday, I looked at the pool and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a pool scene. I had disco scene, we had a lot of scenes. But we had finished the scene and he pulled me out of the pool. There were no stairs. He literally just sort of lifted me up out of the pool. And he very sincerely looked me in the face and said, you should go to Hollywood. I think you'd have a great career. And so I did. It is because of Leonard Katzman. So Leonard, thank you so. I have such a special place in my heart for him and the show. And it was my first episode. Was the episode back after the summer of Who Shot JR.
Yes.
So that was a great episode. And so I did. I graduated high school a year early. I went to a school where I could read a few books and answer a few questions, and I loaded up my Buick Regal with my mother and the 8-track tapes and moved out to Westwood, California, having no idea. But then they actually I did an episode on the studio lot. I was so nervous. I was 17. And that's when I first met Larry Hagman. It was a small little encounter, but I was at the makeup mirror and like, oh my gosh, it's Larry Hagman. And he sits down and he goes, hi, how are you? You know, it's just like so classic. But then my first job in LA was with David Jacobs, who created Dallas. And he had created a soap opera Behind the Screen, which aired, they wanted it to do a soap opera opposite Johnny Carson. It was on CBS, it was 13 episodes. So my first job in Hollywood was, again, through this connection of Leonard Katzman in Dallas with David Jacobs, who created Dallas. So.
Well, and he was right, because you heard a lot of yeses after that.
Well, far and few between, but I heard enough.
Yeah, yes from Sylvester Stallone. You were a co-star with Sylvester Stallone, and with Barry Corbin for many years on Northern Exposure.
Yes, Barry Corbin. Barry Corbin I have a love in my heart, a very special place in my heart for Barry Corbin. I absolutely love him. Well, I'm just blessed to be here, even though I was just in 3 episodes. I feel sort of, not worthy to be here, but I am very thrilled to be here and appreciate
we're
it.
honored to have you here.
Your family.
You came and played with us.
Well, by the way, my mother remembers one of my lines, since I have to act it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in a yellow and white bikini, which everyone pointed out that matches the awnings.
Yes.
Which I don't think that was planned. But I walk up to Mitch, and there's a screenshot I've been posting everywhere. But I walk up to her boyfriend, to Charlene and Lucy, and I say, I haven't met your boyfriend yet. And Charlene says, no, and you won't. That's according to my mother. For everyone, I mean, mine may be a little bit different, but that's how my mother remembers it.
And maybe that's why Susan disappeared shortly after that.
That's true. That was the antagonist.
I am so glad they gave us extra time. We have actually about 20 minutes for your questions. So I want to start throwing this out to you. Raise your hand if you have a question for any of the panelists up here. Help me out. Who's got a question? Yes, thank God.
Scene I remember where Casey walks into the office and all the secretaries were swooning over him. Can you talk about that?
When Casey walked into Ewing Oil and all the secretaries were salivating.
Okay, so Ted Danson's a friend of mine, and he said, do you know how I became a sex symbol? And I said, no. He said, because everybody on the show talked about how sexy I was. So I think they created that sort of illusion that Casey was a ladies' man, and they, in the writing, and certainly with Leonard and the writers, they played it up every chance they got. And it stuck in JR's craw a little bit, too.
And you were very handsome and very
It took such acting to swoon over you. Oh my gosh, I was exhausted.
But I had him first.
Well, Andrew, that brings up a great point. I want to ask all of you, any of you who want to answer, some great advice that you got from a celebrity on Dallas or anywhere else among your acting careers. Yes.
I have
Oh,
one.
yeah, Deborah, please.
I will tell you what Larry told me consistently, and everyone here is going to laugh. He used to tell me all the time, Sly, because he loved to call me Sly, never ask Lorimar for a raise. You took my line. You took my line. You will find yourself gone.
That's exactly.
I believe Patrick and Larry took me out to lunch one day and said, "We love you. Don't ask for more money. We want you to stay. We want you to stay."
And you know what? That's why we stayed, because we never asked for a raise.
And
he
that's-
told me if you never ask for one, you will always get one. And I was like, okay.
And that's so all the money could go to Larry Hagman, probably. Everything went into his pocket.
Never mind, he was the highest paid actor in television.
Yes, he sure was. Yeah. Did you have something to add, Deborah? You were about
No,
to...
I was just going to say we loved our jobs, you know, so we were really happy to have our jobs.
Yeah.
But no, that it was my first television work. You know, I came out, I was a theater actress, I was in Chicago after school, and I literally had friends, and I was planning to go to New York, and I had friends who were living in LA and starting to work in LA as casting agents and talent agents and writers, and they said, I'm going to New York. And they went, come to LA, you'll work. I bought a car. I was 25 years old. I bought a car, no GPS, no cell phones, drove cross country by myself, stayed with a friend in LA who was working for Aaron Spelling Casting.
Yeah.
Sent me for an interview with an agent. That agent said, this part is going to be opening up on Dallas. I'm just going to send you out to see how you do. I met with the casting and with Rennard. I read lines that were not any specific character. And that I arrived in LA 23rd of November. I had this interview maybe a week after Thanksgiving. 2 days after I had the audition, they called and said you had the part. And then a month from the day that I arrived, 23rd of December, I filmed my first episode of Dallas. But I was green in terms of that, and I think it was because of all the amazing actors that I worked with, Larry and Patrick, and Rennard, and everyone who embraced us and believed in us and really helped us. You know, really created an atmosphere where we felt like it wasn't, you know, we weren't imposters. We were really good, and we were hired for a reason, and they supported us. They were amazing. It was my first acting role in television too. I'd been doing commercials, but I'd never done anything. And I got on the #1 show in the world.
Jackpot.
How does that happen? You know? But everyone was so lovely.
Yeah.
All the actors were so great and generous.
Well, I think Larry gave you some good advice, because a few months ago, I had the opportunity to interview Tina Louise, who, of course, was Ginger on Gilligan's Island, but she also was the first secretary on the first season of Dallas. And I asked her about that, and she loves to talk about anything except Gilligan's Island, so she was happy to talk about Dallas. And I said, so what happened? And she said, well, you know, as it was explained to me, I was to have more of a role on that show. So I talked to them, and the result was that she was pushed out a window to her death. So that's
probably why Larry kept giving me that advice.
We don't want Sly.
He didn't want me going out the window.
I think Jack Scalia probably did the same thing, and we know what happened to him. 20 stories.
That's it.
Anyone else have a question out there? Yes, in the back, please. I see two hands. Both of you. First, yes. So we're asking about your scenes with Mary Lee Stone. She was the slightly more mature, older, wheeler-dealer, glamorous woman who would show up and deal with JR.
Oh, yeah. Yes, well, you know, again, every chance they could, they got my shirt off. So I was kind of thrust into situations with Sly, with Lucy, with Sherry J. Wilson, with Marilee, and you know, as an actor, you just kind of you roll with it. And you know, as they've all said, you don't ask questions and you don't ask for more money.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes.
Andrew, I just want to see if any of those posters of you without your shirt on are still available.
Oh.
Are they online?
You know,
If not, can we do some selfies?
I'll tell the story. Years ago, when I was on an ABC series called Code Red, and then a CBS series called Emerald Point NAS, and they'd make you do Battle of the Network Stars. So you'd show up, and they'd give you a warm-up jacket, a pair of dolphin shorts, a tank top, and a Speedo. And you were always in the pool doing some sort of aquatic event in a Speedo. Little did you know that 20 years later, this thing called the internet's going to explode, and now everybody can zoom in on your package.
Oh my gosh.
You'll have to join Christopher Atkins in Playgirl, you know? They brought him back and did a,
Yes,
you know.
we're the Beanbag Twins.
Oh my, Andrew, I loved Battle of the Network Stars. Do you remember who was on your team?
I think Scott Baio on one team. Scott Baio, Sam J. Jones, maybe Heather Locklear. I know Heather Thomas and I are in some clips around. I don't remember exactly because there were two different networks in 2 different years.
You know, explain this to me, because I loved it, because they would get all the biggest stars. I mean, Tom Selleck and William Shatner, Heather Locklear, Farrah Fawcett, they all did it. I think you'd have a hard time getting Jennifer Aniston and Terry Hatcher to do Battle of the Network Stars in a pit of mud. Why were things so different then, and so happy people wanted to come play together over the summertime?
You know, they would find guys like Robert Conrad, who was a huge TV star, Gabe Kaplan, to be kind of the hosts. Mr. T was always there. He jumped in the pool one time with all his chains. He sank. We had to pull him out. Howard Cosell, the great Howard Cosell, called all the events, and in that iconic voice. And it was part of your job, kind of like today. Part of an actor's job is to promote shows on social media. That was our social media. You know, and the fan magazines were the social media for the shows that you were on. It was your job to promote them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think Charlene was on.
What's that?
I think Charlene was on.
Did Charlene do it?
Did Charlene do Battle of the Network Stars? Alan would know. She did? Yeah.
She did. I love going back and seeing the clips on YouTube. It's so fun. There was another question back there. A couple now. Yes.
Not one.
Well,
Oh
I
my
know me was
gosh.
Victoria Principal for sure.
That's right. And I said, no, let her in.
Pam.
But I bet you could. Yeah.
No, I mean, they would just sweep right by poor kids.
We had more scenes where they'd rush to the office and we'd open the door and go, I'm sorry, Bobby.
That's a funny question. Who else? Yes, please. Oh, one of my favorites right here. It's good to see you again.
Was there going to be a storyline with Casey and Suellen? Were they thinking about that at one point?
Andrew, did you ever think about pairing you up with Linda Gray?
Is there anybody left? Let's do a
I was never made. I was never privy to any conceived storyline with Sue Ellen. I did cut kind of a minor swath through most of the available women on the show. But,
Not me.
Maybe
Not
if I
me.
stuck around.
You broke Sly's heart. Trying to use me.
Anyway, but who knows what? Because I think they never knew from one minute to the next who was going to come back onto the show. Like Charlene came back in my second year. In my first year, the storyline was going in a completely different direction, and then with Charlene coming back, they saw an opportunity to kind of interweave us. So I think it was a living, breathing thing, depending on the writers and how the characters were what sort of chemistry they had. Don't you?
Oh, 100%. And also, we're just actors. They didn't ask us. They didn't consult us. We get the script. We find out what we're supposed to do.
But it's true, and I've said this before, I was supposed to be in 7 episodes.
Yeah.
And I was thrilled at that, but then they came and said, it's working out. We're kind of seeing some ways to go with this. So I got 3 seasons out of 7 episodes.
You
I
know,
was really lucky.
last year, Cathy, we showed a clip of you at the Ewing table, and Barbara Bulgetti's was in that, and I wish I'd known a couple days ago. 2 days ago, Friday, was the 20th anniversary of Barbara's passing. 20 years.
That's crazy.
I mean, what timing. So I feel I have to ask you about Barbara.
I'm happy to talk about Barbara.
Please, tell us about this amazing woman.
She was so, both, I have to lump Howard Keel into this conversation because the two of them, I mean, I so enjoyed my Cali scenes with them and their sweetness, and so we were so happy to have each other. I mean, I think they were thrilled, and Howard said so, like, I'm so happy that you came along and we have these wonderful scenes. He really expressed how he enjoyed it. And so the two of them, it was just lovely. But Cathy and the icons of Howard Keel and Barbara Bulgetti's, there was a huge, like, you know, Hitchcock or musical, you know, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers with Howard. And I love them. And Howard and his wife Judy were so sweet. And my husband and I were invited. Yeah, I mean, so sweet. So got to see them outside of work, and yeah, lovely.
I still have a plant from her. Like, she gave us a beautiful basket.
We talked
She
about
gave
this.
us all
And they
flowers
dried
after we had
We
like
did a
one
scene
real
with
scene
her.
Yeah,
and she sent us all flowers. She sent us
Flowers.
I still have them.
I still have the card, right?
Yes, I do too.
Oh my God,
She
she
has
was
the
such a
dry
classy
flowers.
lady. Swear
She
to
came
God.
into the office because she wanted to do some research on the computer. The Texas Instruments computers that were not connected, but sat on our desks.
Operational.
And I was Bobby and JR came in. They were looking for, you know, where are the secretaries? Where is everybody? And we were all gathered around the desk, showing her how to use the computer. And it was just this lovely little, you know, beautiful little picture of us. We finished the scene. It was before lunch. We broke for lunch. We came back to our dressing rooms after lunch, and we had these beautiful bouquets. And it basically said, "So excited we finally got to work together at BBG. Love BBG." I mean, for us, you know, it was, yeah.
So, Danone, you have a plant that Barbara Bulgetti's gave you 40 years ago that's still alive?
No,
These are the
it's not
flowers.
alive. It's dried. It was dry. It's
Oh,
roses, and
okay.
they dry beautifully. Yeah.
Like that,
I
that's
still have it.
the
I put
greatest,
the heart on it.
greatest
That's the arrangement. We just have the card.
Oh, Mama.
Mr. Corbin, Barry, did you get to work with Barbara Bulgetti's or Jim Davis? Did you know Barbara Bulgetti?
Yeah.
Can you any memories you can share about Barbara or Jim Davis?
This one works, I think. Yeah, Jim Davis was one of my favorite guys. He was just what he was, and I remember him talking to the guy who designed the hats. He said, "I want the brim turned down a little bit here in the front and in the back, and I need a little bit wider brim." One day I was working there and walked past his trailer during lunch break. He had his door open and he was in there having lunch. He was having a couple of chili dogs and a shaker of margarita, or shaker of martini. He said, "Barry, come on in here and have a martini." I said, "Well, no, Jim, I got some dialogue this afternoon." And he said, "Well, maybe later." He's a nice fella. I liked him. And Barbara she was very soft-spoken, very, you know, I loved her, and I remember Mama. She was the narrator and the main daughter there, and I remember Mama. And she was also the first
First Maggie in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Cat
on a Hot Tin Roof. Yeah.
Oh, she was the original lead in Cat on the Hot Tin Roof. part that Elizabeth Taylor played in the movie. I would like to have seen her do that.
And with Ernest Borgnine and Marty, the
Yeah.
wonderful
Oh, she
teleplay
was
Marty.
in all kinds of stuff.
Jimmy Stewart, of course. And was it Rear Window? Was Rear Window?
Oh, Vertigo.
Vertigo, thank you, my goodness. Well, it's a huge faux pas. You know, I think that's a good place for us to, let's all, honor Howard Keel and Barbara Bel Geddes and Ken Kercheval and Larry Hagman by, if you have a drink, raise it. If you don't, just join us like we are. Let's honor all the legends who passed through Dallas throughout the years, including this incredible panel with us today. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, all of you. What a fabulous weekend this has been. Thank you, guys.
I just want to give a special shout out. I don't know if James Yarnell is here, but these incredible sets were designed and installed by Emmy Award winning James Yarnell, who also did the set. So I want to thank him. I don't know if he's here, but oh, there he is! Yay!
Thank you, James.
And everything out, all the sets out front. So go take lots of selfies. Thank you, James.